You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into the Packers Total Access pregame show. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us, 865-658-5824. Join alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Tim Boots on the ground. I don't know if his reception is going to be good enough to call in, but we're going to kind of get you guys and gals set for this final preseason matchup here between the Packers and the Ravens. And before we do, let's go ahead and I hear Jacob back there yawning. Jacob, I think you were like me, man. As soon as that sun started to pop up this morning, even a little bit before, it's like, it's game day. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm tired right now. I woke up at 4:30. I think I sent y'all a text in the group chat, and I was like, well, what do I do now? And I actually ended up I got syrup all up in my beard because I found at Walmart they have these little perfect like silicone die cast things that you can put, crack an egg, put some bacon in. You make your own McGriddles. That's what I did this morning. I ate 2 of them, and now I feel like I'm going to throw up. But other than that, I'm ready to go, baby.
Bro, I had never had, in my 41 years of existence, I had never had a McGriddle until about 3 weeks ago. That thing is fire, dude.
It's
so good, man. Yeah. And I just get a plain egg one, but just that pancake, little syrup taste with the egg, it's over. It's over. Yep. I find myself rolling through town on a daily basis now going, what time is it? Can I get a McGriddle over there? They serving lunch yet? So, yeah, obviously it being game day, man, food's a big part of it. I had a little mini redneck charcuterie board just a second ago, but we're going to watch the game in the pool today and going to have some wings delivered DoorDash, so I'm excited about that. What's on tap for you, man? What are you eating today?
Well, last night I made that Mexican street corn, like a street corn salad. It is the best. Dude, it is so good. So I bought a bunch of chips. I'm going to use that as some dip. And then I think I'm going to make some ribs later.
That sounds good, dude. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Well, I know they're already cooking out there in Lambeau, tailgating. This tweet went out from the GBC podcast, Green Bay Chat Podcast, I think is what it stands for. They're out there tailgating early. I know Rob Domofsky heading into the stadium earlier. They already had the band up. This was I think this was 8:30 your all's time when this was going on. So this was really early. They had the band out there, and obviously everybody cooking it up. I'm not sure which grass lot that is, but it doesn't matter. As long as you're within a quarter mile of Lambeau Field, there's good food, there's booze flowing, and in this case, some music playing too, man. Pretty cool to see the Lambeau faithful get out there early on a preseason game and tailgate, Jake.
Yeah, it's just a special place, man. I remember people like Packer fans are different, dude. I remember every time that I've ever went to a noon game with my buddies, we're driving down the highway. It's like 6, 7, 8 in the morning, taking Jaeger bombs on the way to the old stadium. You get there and people are waiting. They're like, you got to catch up. We're already a case deep. It's like, all right, breakfast, bush lattes for breakfast.
It's funny, man, because like we went to a game together and you notice I didn't drink. I don't think I drank a drop that night.
I don't remember you drinking.
Yeah, when I'm at a football game, I'm like, I don't want to be soused at all. Here's the thing, too. I have a couple brewskis. Those eyes start getting heavy. I'm like, man, I need a nap. That's how I respond to alcohol. So
yeah.
When it's game time, man, food, yes. Snacks, absolutely. But I try to stay away from the booze during the game. Now, post-game show, might crack one open, that type of thing, obviously, after a ball game. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited, man. It's going to be a lot of fun today for sure. I know Wes Hykowitz. Look at that pretty blue sky there, man. I mean, that's absolutely gorgeous. Actually, there was a tweet that went out too by Phil DeCastro. Everybody go give him a follow. I think he's a local weather guy there for Fox 11. Said it's going to be much warmer today than it has been this past week. If you're headed to Lambeau Field for today's game, hashtag WIWX. So shout out to them. So the forecast, 11 a.m. and this is Central Time, I'm sure. 78 degrees at noon, 80 degrees. That's going to be kickoff, right? 1 p.m., 82, 2 p.m., 83, 3 p.m., 84. So you're looking at the lower to mid 80s for the forecast today. Partly cloudy, just going to be absolute beautiful weather. But those 80s, Jacob, with those pads and everything, that's going to play a little bit of a role too, right? I know they're going to be rotating guys in and out, I'm sure, but probably going to get a little warm on the players down there on the field at Lambeau.
Yeah, it definitely is. It'll be a little bit muggy too. But, it's been kind of unseasonably cool the last week here a little bit. It's just been very nice. So the guys are used to it. They've practiced in it. So I'm hoping that is there any word? Has anybody gotten any confirmation if the starters will play at all, or is it just still a we'll see situation?
Nothing yet, and we're going to keep our eye on Twitter to try to find that information as we go through here. If you want to go ahead and start marking any chats, you may already have them marked that have questions or comments about what's coming up for the game. We'll keep our eye on the comments too. Usually they'll break the news before we even see it come across Twitter, but right. I'm going to keep combing through Twitter to find out for sure. Let's see. I know Paul Brittle getting settled in, got his shot from the media box there. Packers versus Ravens to wrap up the season. We got a really cool article from him we're going to try to dive into here as well to see about the 15 things to watch for today. So Paul getting settled in up there in the box too. Wes Hykowitz had tweeted this out. Pretty cool shot of Lambeau. Obviously, before everybody follows in, this is my favorite part of the stadium when it's just about completely empty, man. I just love it. Absolutely love it. You see the shadow as the sun's rising over Lambeau. Going to be a beautiful day for football. Wes Hykowitz, man, he is just such a consistent follow on Twitter. The dude, he's not going to key in on the hot button topics. He's going to tell you, hey, here's what's going on around the team. He keeps it positive. He's one of those old school top journalists when it comes to football. This new age, it's how can I find the dirt? How can I find the emotion? How can I find – if you guys go back to when the Packers were on really, really fragile ground when they first kind of – not even when they first started, but throughout the 40s and 50s where they were constantly facing these financial crises as a small market team, it was the reporters that really held it together. And I think it was like Art Daly and some of the guys, they would report on all the positives to kind of keep the enthusiasm up for the Packers. That's the way I feel when Wes Hykowitz tweets, writes a story, covers the Packers. I don't know about you, Jacob. I kind of like that approach, man.
Yeah. You mean to tell me, Clayton, that somehow the media sometimes actually tries to do a good job and not completely gaslight and brainwash you into a certain situation? That's weird. I would have never thought,
And Wes Hykowitz, to me, is the poster child for doing it the right way. Him and Mike Spofford do a great job. Love Paul Brittle, too. Paul Brittle, to me, is like I don't want to say he's not always positive. He leans in just a touch into, hey, here's the things that's got to get worked on. You follow those three people, man, you're covered, in my opinion. I know the Packers had tweeted this out shortly ago, too, Jacob, with the players walking into the player lot there. You see, I think it was Big Elton Jenkins. Look at Luke Musgrave, how shy he is, dude. Look how awkward this cat is. I love it. Watch him right here. He's like, oh, hey, all right, yeah. 123% Caucasian. There's no doubt about it. And you got Jair bringing the swag in. Preston Smith rocking the Goonies hoodie. Look at it.
That's awesome.
I love it. We got to see that Goonies hoodie here. Let's see if we can get a good look at it. What's it say? Never say die, right? Love it. Absolutely love it. So Preston Smith, man, one of the unsung heroes on this team, always willing to take a pay cut, it seems like. And that dude, he could play somewhere else. There's no doubt about it. Arguably one of our most steady defenders not just last year, but the last 2 years with Gary getting hurt the year before. Preston's just seems like he's always available and always around the ball, man. hopefully they keep him next year. But I do think that there's a decent chance they'll be converting some salary to signing bonus and trying to cut that pay a touch next year as well, Jay. What do you think about Preston Smith this year? You think he's poised for a big year?
Man, it would be one that I haven't really thought about having a breakout year. It's one that we haven't really talked about as much, but I would even push back and say that not just the last 2 years, I think that since he's got here, he's been a very underrated kind of lunch pail, just unsung hero type guy. He just seems like he's always, I remember when we first got him and Z, remember that? That was crazy. The Smith brothers. Oh, I loved it. It was amazing. And I just think that since he's been in the organization, he's been nothing but positive. I don't think I've ever seen any sort of drama stem from him whatsoever. And he just, like you said, man, what more can you ask from a teammate to take a pay cut, basically? And I think that he understands, especially after coming from an organization like Washington, you know what I mean? Especially what Washington at that point was just in the pits of, I think that was still Dan Schneider running that organization at that time. For him to go from just an absolute crap show and then walk into the Green Bay Packers organization, I think he understands that they do it different here, that it's a privilege to be in this organization, and I would bet that he wants to spend as much time as he can here in his career. So I'm happy.
Definitely. Let's get to the chat here, man. It's been lit up. Omer, it's like, 2 a.m. over there for him or something in the middle of the night. I love Omer. He says, irony is these two teams could meet in the Super Bowl in February. They both have legitimate shots to get there for sure. If they stay healthy, I can't disagree with that. Baltimore's as good as anyone in the AFC. The problem with anyone who plays in the AFC is there's a guy over there named Pat Mahomes that even with having down years like he did last year, he's still, when the game's on the line, he finds a way to make it happen. Kelsey. And that defense was phenomenal. But, yeah, Baltimore, Jacob, I think they got just as good a shot as anyone. And it's just, to me, it's exciting knowing that you got one of, if not the youngest team in the league in the Packers, and you're considered one of like 6, maybe 7 teams that are Super Bowl contenders. It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, and it sounds like we will be on track to be at least top 3 youngest team again for the second year in a row. And it is crazy to think about that because of the fact that we have so many guys taking that second-year jump and the third-year jump. I really do think if everything clicks, man, it is hard to see. There would have to be a lot. I'll put it this way. There has to be a lot to go wrong for the Packers to have a bad season this year. That's what I'll say, because we're just too stacked at so many positions. I think we have too much talent, and I just think the sky's the limit. I mean, I think it might be a little rough right away because we just seem to be kind of a slow starting type of organization in certain aspects. I really hope the defense is what it seems to be, because if the defense comes out as just, dude, I cannot in my Packer fan history life, other than maybe splashes here or there, was ever confident in our defense. It was always just kind of, I hope the defense could do enough just so that we can win kind of thing, or that our offense is so great. We have so much talent with Favre and Rodgers and now Love that we just overcome the fact that our defense is booty cheeks. But what if, guys? Dude, I would do cartwheels if we're top 10. If we're top 5, don't even get me started. I'll do some weird stuff.
Way easy now. This is a family show here. I was going to share Paul Brettle's article, but we'll continue hitting these comments real quick because the chat's lit up. I do want to give a shout out to Tim. Look at Tim. Finally got pops up here for a game. His first time seeing a Packers game at Lambeau Field since 1994. Get loud, Lambeau. So Tim in the house with his dad. Man, that's absolutely awesome. That's what football's all about, man. That's just that's the coolest. Tim, have a good time, man. If you can call in, call in. If you can't, no big deal, brother. All right, let's get back to the chat. Obviously, Murph in the house says, woo. Good to see you in there, buddy.
That's pretty good. It sounds like Ric Flair.
Yeah, don't make me you got to get a couple daddy sodas in you before you can really sound like the nature boy. You know what I mean? But Greg Rice says, is it time for pregame yet? It is now, sir. They were in here early. Omer, be interesting to see if Matt plays the ones today. I completely agree, man. I'm okay with everyone playing. The one person I would say, if Matt said, you know what, let's don't play him, I would be totally cool with, is Jordan Love. I don't think there's any reason to put Jordan out there. He's shown that at practice, once he came in from the hold in, whatever you want to call it, when the contract got finished, you've seen the offense immediately elevate, right? And you're not going out there in a preseason game to, quote unquote, work on things, right? It's to get into that routine, to get into that game day routine. I think it'd be cool if they played pretty much everyone else. Maybe Josh Jacobs, don't play him. Like, let's say like the top 5 or 10 guys on the team, Jacob. I'm okay if they don't play, right? But everyone else, the way we handled it last week where there was like 30-some players, it's like, it's just, I don't know, man. I didn't really understand. And I know some of them were injuries, don't get me wrong. I think there was like 20-some healthy scratches. I'd like to see more people play, but don't have to have the superstars. How do you feel about that, man?
Yeah, I mean, if I would say max, I'd do one series with the starters, depending on how that went. Like you just said, I'd like the offensive line to take a few series, to be honest. I think that would be beneficial for them just to get some more live rounds going off, just because, I just think it'd be beneficial. I would also, no Love, no Jacobs. Let's maybe let Watson and Dobby and maybe Reed sit as well. And then, we played really well in that scrimmage. I think well enough to the point where LaFleur probably saw more than what I think that if we would have underperformed in that practice, that he probably would have wanted to see us play more of the guys and just show him something. But I think that we had a really good turnout that possibly Matt, I don't think he's going to sit 30 of them, but I could see him sitting a vast majority of them.
Yeah, we got Carly Ray joining us now. Carly, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys?
No, we're good. We're just in here geeking out over a little preseason football. You're football starved when a preseason game, you wake up 4 hours earlier than you normally would getting ready for a preseason game. But this question right here, I'm eager to ask you. Omer says, be interesting to see if Matt plays the ones today. How do you feel about that? We haven't really got your take on that. Do you think preseason games the ones should play, or how do you think the Packers should handle that?
I would like to see the ones play. Obviously, I'm not an NFL coach, but I feel like, we know actual game time is different than practice, and no matter how much you practice these things, a game time, the feel is different, the energy is different, the vibe. And if you can't get like the vanilla easy stuff off, like I know people say, well, they're just going to do the easy stuff in preseason. It's not really all that helpful for practicing like the more complex schemes, but just getting those vanilla schemes and those just the really basic stuff, like you have to get into a rhythm with that, I feel like, before you can really get the more complex things going. And so even just to have those players out there that just need to kind of sync up and feel how everything's going, I think is important. And I think also injuries can happen anytime. Like I know people say you want to leave healthy and you want to be good for the first game, but if they're going to lose the first 2 games anyway because they can't get into a rhythm, that's not helpful either for the entire season. So I say risk it and play them at least for part of the time. My opinion.
Yeah, no, I it's hard to argue with that. It really is. I think that's a pretty fair opinion of it. We got Pack Daddy in here, says let's go. He went on to say, Jacob, do you have to pay extra for the weird stuff?
Yes.
He said, yeah, hey, I respect the honesty. There you go. All right. Let's see. Dave MX6 Garcia says, so Clayton, what you think of Henry Pearson signing? Think that's a sign Davis is injured or using him as H-back with Dillon's stinger injury? That's a great point that it seemed like they did sign him right around the time that we found out A.J. Dillon had that stinger against Cleveland. So there may be a little something to that. But, Dave, I'm not saying that I'm right and everyone else is wrong here. It's probably the opposite, I'm sure. A lot more people believe that A.J. Dillon can be that H-back, and I just don't see it. Like, I've never seen him in that fullback role. And like, you'll run the pony package, but the way they would run the pony package is they would do a lot of cheat motion with Aaron Jones out of the backfield, so it goes to a one-back set. Technically, it's 21 personnel, but whenever they would go to the pony package, meaning the 2 running backs in the double sidecar, along with Jordan in the backfield in the gun set, to me, it got so predictable because everybody knew, okay, when they go to the pony package, they're probably going to use Aaron Jones as a receiver. So now just treat it like it's 11 personnel, right? And if you don't have a true fullback in there to lead block, and again, I haven't seen A.J. Dillon as a good lead blocker. That's just me personally. Like I said, I could be wrong, but it's really, really interesting that they signed Henry Pearson right around the time we found out the stinger, because maybe they were looking at using A.J. Dillon as more of an H-back this year. It's just, I guess what I'm trying to say is, Jacob, is we've heard it for 2 years in a row now, and we still haven't seen him truly play that H-back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. And to be honest, I kind of agree with you. There's been no indication from A.J. Dillon's game that he's the type of thumper that you would need at that fullback type of position. I don't see him being a lead blocker. I don't see him even – I think he's decent in pass protection and that kind of stuff, but it just doesn't seem to fit his play style. I mean, I always thought that it would make more sense if a guy like maybe Davis, or we had DeGuara, that experiment. Rest in peace to the DeGuara jersey over there. I think that H-back role is desperately needed in this Matt LaFleur offense. You can tell the guy just really wants one. I mean, could you imagine if we had a use check in this type of offense? You know what I mean? Or just anybody similar to that. I would love to see. I don't know, man. I just don't know who else would fill that role right now. I like Kendrick Pearson a lot. It's weird. We've always had. It seems like since John Kuhn left, we've been. Remember Aaron Ripkowski? I had high hopes for him, and he had that one horrible fumble, and I think they basically that fumble haunted him, and I think that it basically got him kicked off the team.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
I remember the Ripkowski pot. I was fired up. I was like, well, could you get a better football name than Ripkowski? Let's go. He plays fullback. Give me his jersey. But I'll tell you one that I thought played pretty decent early on was Corey Hall. I don't know if you guys remember Corey Hall, but he caught Aaron Rodgers' first touchdown pass as a starter. I was in the stadium for it, actually filmed it from the seats opposite end zone, had it zoomed in with an old Canon camera. It's the coolest touchdown catch you'll ever see, where Aaron Rodgers had to torque his body, throw by his ear, and in between two defenders, and Corey Hall laid out, diving catch, touchdown. It was just phenomenal. Now, obviously, John Kuhn comes into the picture, and you just completely forget about Corey Hall. John Kuhn's a legend. But, yeah, I don't know, man. The fullback position is just kind of – it's working its way out of the NFL to a certain extent because there are no Kyle Juszczyks. Kyle Juszczyk is such a unicorn today. And I think, honestly, if Kyle Shanahan did not have Kyle Juszczyk, I don't think they would run as much 21 personnel. I don't. I think it's just one of those things that – it's kind of the yin and the yang we talked about with Sean McVay. He was forced to go to 11 personnel because they landed Cooper Kupp. And it's like, I'm not going to play with him on the bench, right? So let's go 3 wide receiver sets. I think with Kyle Shanahan, it's like Kyle Juszczyk's arguably the best fullback in football the last decade. I'm not on the bench.
Well, do you remember roughly what time period the fullback just all of a sudden went away? Because it feels like that one year they were just gone. Do you remember? Was it Lorenzo Neal? Am I remembering that guy correctly?
There was all kinds. Yeah,
he was such a beast, bro. Like he was such a beast.
Yeah. To me, it happened right around the shotgun spread offense taking over the NFL. So probably, if I had to guess, I would say you could go back in time and see the fullback role start to trickle out more. I'd say probably right around 2005, 2006.
That's what I was going to
say.
say.
Right around the time that McCarthy came on the scene in Green Bay, you've seen the spread off and Sean Payton, everybody just take off, right? And then that's what's so cool is the league is so cyclical that things that were popular in the past they'll come and go. It's just this constant rotation. So you've seen Kyle Shanahan and that offense kind of come into the picture, and you've seen the reemergence of the fullback and the 2 tight end sets and all that, which Belichick made it popular too, albeit a different scheme, but the same personnel that was becoming popular across the league. When he obviously had Rob Gronkowski and another tight end that will remain nameless. But so I think the league is just so cyclical. But Carly, if you got anything to add or you got a question, you just chime in, okay? Just interrupt me.
I do. Oh, I hate interrupting you. That's so awkward. But no, I do have a question. So as I'm learning more about football, I find that I have to go back and re-clarify some of the things I learned earlier, like misconceptions. So can you clarify me like the difference between like a halfback and fullback role and what those traditionally do, and what would be the benefit of using those if other offenses don't use them as much?
Yeah, so there's so many different terms used for the running back position that it gets very confusing, and different systems use different letters and this and that. Like Bobby Peters' book, he refers to the running back as the H, okay? And people see that and they go, H-back. Traditionally, H-back was a bigger back, kind of a blocking back, but he was almost like a hybrid between a running back and a tight end that played in the backfield. Well, they're just using H as a way to identify. I always use the letter T. That's the way I've been taught it because it stands for tailback. So to answer your question, you've got a tailback who's a true running back. He's gonna run the ball consistently, catch the ball out of the backfield, all that stuff, right? You got a T, and then I refer to the H as anytime there's a second guy in the backfield acting as a fullback or a tight end hybrid, I refer to that as the H-back, okay? So the difference between a fullback and a tailback or a halfback is a halfback / tailback. They're kind of your true running back, your Aaron Joneses, your Josh Jacobs, your Adrian Petersons from back in the day, people like that. Your fullbacks are more of a blocking back, like Jacob mentioned. Lorenzo Neal, they're typically bigger. John Kuhn, that's a fullback, right? Mike Allstott, albeit later in Mike Allstott's career, they kind of converted him to more of a tailback once Warwick Dunn left the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he was kind of a good hybrid. But, yeah, tailback, halfback is your traditional running backs. Fullback is a blocking back, although he can catch the ball in the backfield. And as we've seen with John Kuhn, if you need 2 yards, he'll get you 2 yards. If you need 4 yards, he'll get you 2 yards, right? The whole thing. Did that answer your question?
No, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Like Carly, do you remember back in the day when basically the power I, any I formation, you'd be your fullback as your lead blocker right behind the quarterback, and usually your tailback or halfback would be behind him. It's like he's going to be probably about 20, 30 pounds bigger, still an athlete, but just a neck. Just
pushing through, separating, getting the blocks to try and get just a little bit.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Let's see here. Blake B in the chat says, not to be negative, but away Watts at Lambeau aren't my favorite. Hope all attendees at Lambeau have fun, though. It's funny you say that, Blake, because as soon as I seen the lockers that the Packers tweeted out, I got excited. I love the white unis. I absolutely love them. Not that I don't like the greens, but I guarantee you, Blake, the large majority of people agree with you. They want to see those home greens. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool to switch it up a bit from time to time. To shake off the dust a little bit, the cobwebs. I know Dallas does that. They always, when they play at home, they use the white unis. But how do you guys feel about that? You got a preference? Does it matter? How y'all feel about it?
I like the white. I like it when they have the towels and swinging and people wear white. I think it looks really cool and it really stands out. And because it's more rare, I like the energy of it. I've been to one game where it was white out and it was awesome.
That's awesome. Jacob, how you feel, man?
Yeah, the Packers organization has been kind of known for just being very vanilla for pretty much. They very rarely do anything crazy. Lately, they've been getting better. I know that people love to hate on the alternate uniforms that we've had over the years. I personally have loved every one of them, even the ugly navy ones with the brown shirts with the circled letters. I love them all. I would like us to get a little more wear some different alternates, maybe have fun with a little bit different stuff. But the Green Bay Packers organization is They're pretty tried and true. And I think it's going to be, this year we're doing, like Carly just said, the whiteout with the white helmets. That's going to be pretty freaking awesome. I was personally a fan of the color rush when we did the solid yellows. Yeah. That was probably one of my favorites.
Was cool. Yeah, that was really cool too.
I really like those. But I'd be interested to let us like get a little crazy one year and just do something stupid. Like I want to see it, man.
Yeah.
I realized I totally misunderstood the question. I thought they were talking about like the crowd wearing all white, but now I get it. It's the jerseys. Gotcha. But see,
and that's kind of the goal too. Like whatever unis they're wearing, you should try to match up. That's the way I've always done it, But the winter warning game though against the Texans is going to be awesome.
Dude,
everybody whited out.
Have you ever seen the whiteout games at Penn State, Carly?
Oh, bro.
No, I haven't.
Dude, it's honestly pretty cool. Like it's awesome.
I can't remember,
especially if it happens to be snowing, dude. It'll be insane.
When we get done here, go to YouTube and type in Penn State whiteout, and it'll probably have a clip pop up. I think it might have been. I shouldn't say this. I don't know for sure. It might have been Michigan. There was a team they were playing, and it was so loud. And what do they call it? Happy Valley? Ain't that what it's called, Jacob? Am I thinking right?
I thought so.
Penn State, yeah. They play. Everybody's whited out, right? And it was so loud on the opening play of the game, they had to burn a timeout because they couldn't hear the cadence on the very first play of the game. It's unbelievable. Awesome. If you get a chance, check that out. So really cool stuff there. Ron Samble asks, is Ryan doing the watch party? Yes, sir, he is, Ron. So here's the deal. I got a little bit of a dilemma. People are asking for me to create the post-game show link so you guys can chat in here. I'm going to continue to do that, but I highly, highly, highly encourage everyone to go over to Packernet's YouTube channel, and you'll see him go live during the game and hang out in there and chat with those guys and gals. That's a really cool environment there. Now, again, I will have the post-game show link up because I'll go ahead and create it, and it's on YouTube. If you click on that link, you can chat in there as well, but even before the show goes live. So we will be doing a post-game show immediately following. But yeah, Ron, definitely check that out over there, man. Fred McFarley says, other than NFL Plus, does anyone know where I can watch the game today? You trying to get us canceled, sir? There are multiple ways you can watch the game, but it is illegal. Try it at your own risk. I will not promote those on here because we're actually about 12 hours away from potentially getting remonetized. That's kind of cool. But we're the bad boys of Packers podcast, I guess.
How about this? If you guys really don't know, DM me on Twitter and I will give you a couple options that I try to use sometimes.
Jacob. So listen, as Jacob aids in the illegalness here.
That's not illegal. I never said it was illegal.
I'm going to tell you, NFL Plus is so worth the subscription. It is awesome. The shows you get, all of that. You can watch every preseason game, the NFL Plus Premium. You've got the All 22. You've got it now. They've got this thing called NFL Pro where you can watch the All 22, and it's got a bunch of next gen stats compiled in. It's really worth it, Fred. It really is. So give it a shot if you're thinking about it.
I'm gonna have to subscribe again to NFL Plus today to get the game. It was weird, man. There must have been some glitch because I canceled my subscription last year at the end of the season, and I was still able to stream the games up until week 2. And then today I logged in there and it definitely caught up with me. So NFL Plus, you're going to get my money again. Darn it.
Shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. I went ahead and we got a new TV mounted on the back deck back there where the pool is. And I went out and downloaded the NFL app earlier and checked it. And it's just so easy, man. It's like, oh yeah, dude. Every preseason game, on the smart TV. It's come a long way, man. Long way, that's for sure.
Are you trying, Clayton, to recreate Vegas down there in Kentucky where you can watch all the games from that, the 3-story pool thing?
I've never seen that, but if I can create 3-story pool, I'm good with that too. But yeah, no, it's something we've been working on, and we finally got everything set up. I hate it was so late in the year, but we're going to put a bonfire out there and stuff too. For the fall, we'll be able to watch games outside. But yeah, it's just got a TV mounted outside, one of those exterior weatherproofs or whatever, and be able to watch the game from the pool. So that's I won't be charting the game today. I'm going to take the day off for that. But hopefully it don't get too wild out there in the pool before we go live for the post game show. I might come in here slurring the words a little. You never know. You know what I'm saying? Like we get out there. on a hot day because it's supposed to be in the mid-80s. So Aaron Rodgers in the chat, not the Aaron Rodgers, but another Aaron Rodgers, says, Jacob, top 5 defense, you shaved the beard. Oh, my God.
Honestly, I would, because it takes me like a month to get this back, so I really don't care. I would. I'll do it.
Put it on the
Do
ticker.
you go to a barber shop for your beard grooming?
I used to, but after when COVID hit and they were like, you got to wear your mask, I was like, screw you. And then I just started doing my own. So now I just shave the head and do my beard myself. I'm not giving Great Clips $1 of my money anymore.
Since 2020, man, there's been a lot of people that have refused to go into certain businesses now. I got a good buddy of mine. He went into, I won't say the name of the business, but they make cakes. And he walked in and no one was wearing masks in there, but they told him he had to wear a mask. And when I say no one, none of the employees were. And he's like, but you're not wearing them. We're like, well, we're going to put them on now that you're in here. It's like, but you guys have been in it. Like, screw it, I ain't coming back. And I'm like, it sucks, man. They make good cakes, but I understand. Completely understand. All right, Jason Yu says, good morning from Japan, 1 a.m. here, but your show is worth it. Hey, Jason, thank you so much. That same friend I was just talking about, his girlfriend just got back from Japan. Her father is stationed over there. I think he's Marine or maybe Army. I can't remember what service, but
Okinawa,
they said that Japan is absolutely awesome. I don't have any desire to go, and I'm not trying to knock it, but I have not met one single human being that's been to Japan and not liked it. Like, it's just, it seems like a pretty cool place.
Their culture is just, it's something else, man. It's just, I actually was semi-raised by my high school football teacher who was from Japan. It's a weird story, but his mother would come from Japan and she would cook. Oh my God, dude. She would spend like 3 hours in the morning cooking for us in the afternoons. And it was authentic Japanese food to the point where like you'd stop eating, she'd be like, eat, and you'd be okay. Like, it was so good, bro. So good.
I love it, dude. I love trying different foods from different cultures and things like that. I don't know. I'm weird like that. I just like trying new stuff. Check this out. GBC podcast just tweeted this out. Try the long shot at lot 1. So if you guys are hearing our voice, if you got your earbuds in, walking around Lambeau, go to lot 1 and try out the long shot. Look at this shot they're pouring here on this, I guess, on this ride. Yeah, look at my man right there. You kidding me? Look at this right here.
Yeah, he's walking around with some Cuervo. Is that it?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's Wisconsin, baby.
11 o'clock in the morning. What are we doing right now?
Dude, I'm telling you, I've never seen, when I walk through that parking lot in the mornings at like 8, 9, 10 o'clock, there's so many bottles of Jaeger and just the most disgusting stuff in the morning. And I'm like, yep, I'm home. I'm home.
My favorite, I told you, man, my very first game, they had a big 18-wheeler out there with a grill on the bed. And they said the world's largest brat grill. And they were literally, I guess Green Bay paid for it. The Packers paid for it, but they were grilling brats, wrapping them in foil, and just tossing them out to people who were in the parking lot. It was unbelievable. I was like, is this heaven? So cool. All right, let's see. Dave MX6 Garcia says, pretty sure we're wearing white since it's kind of hot out. Ravens wear purple strategery. I love it. Great point there, Dave. That might have something to do with it there for sure. All right, Jacob, you just keep an eye on the chat. If you see something you want to pull up, go ahead. I'm going to jump over and let me make one more pass through here real quick and just make sure no other information is dropped. I'm trying to keep an eye on like Wes Heidkowitz, Mike Spofford, Matt Schneidman, everyone else. If not, then we'll jump into the Paul Brettel article of 15 things to watch.
Hey, Clayton, Omer said that according to Rob Domofsky, Jordan Love is in uniform, which has been the case this whole time, but A.J. Dillon and Marshawn Lloyd are not in uniform and going through warmups.
Got it. I think I've got that tweet right here, Carly. As you were saying that, I came across it. Yeah. This is so Rob Domofsky on Twitter says, Jordan Love has been the case, whether he's played or not this preseason, is in uniform and going through early warmups. Running backs A.J. Dillon and Marshawn Lloyd are not. So those are obviously injury concerns. You got the stinger for A.J. Dillon. You get the hammy for Marshawn Lloyd. No surprise there. So it sounds like Jordan's going to be playing then, because the last game in Denver, he was not in uni, right? Right, Jacob? He had his jersey on, but no pads at all, right? So
I believe
if I'm understanding that tweet correctly. Is that how you're understanding it too, Carly? It sounds like Jordan may play.
I have no idea.
There you go.
I don't know enough of this.
Yeah, I
heard it from a fan.
I got to hit you with one.
From a fan right here.
Yeah, all right. So good stuff. Appreciate the update. Yeah, keep your eye on the chat like that because people will give tips as they find them in real time. All right, let's jump to this Paul Brittle article. We'll go rapid fire. I think this is really cool. Paul, just going to kind of give you 15 things to watch today. Always cool to catch up with some of the work that he's got going on. Let me see if I can grab this screen grab real quick. I want to give him a shout out on the tweet he sent out. This one right here. It says Packers versus Ravens at Lambeau Field this afternoon with roster cuts looming. Here are 15 players to keep your eyes on. Everybody, please go give that a retweet, a like, show Paul some love. Make sure you're following his account. That's a phenomenal follow. So let's just jump right into it. We'll read the top part.
So we got here.
Yeah, we'll see if he gets some video cranking here in a minute. We got Tim jumped in, but if so, then I'll just cut away to him. But so this is what Paul Brittle opens up with. Here we go. We got Tim. That's not what Paul Brittle said. That's what I said. What's up, Tim?
What's up, guys? I can hardly hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but we got a good view. It's almost game time.
Nice.
Look at that. Dang, that place is packed.
Yeah, it's filling up quick. Going to be a packed house. Love it.
Awesome.
It's so loud, guys. I'll check in post game or something.
Sounds good. Appreciate you, Tim.
Absolutely. Go Pack, go.
You like how I lean into the mic like
we got to get Tim some noise canceling earbuds or something.
All right, we'll get on that. Everybody at the same time, mail Tim some noise canceling earbuds. Okay, they can get like 43 pairs at the same time.
Yeah, or hit us up on Patreon. We gotta start a GoFundMe for Tim's earbuds.
Now I tell you, I'm surprised we could hear him as good as we can. Like
I know.
Yeah, even then and the other day, but yeah, so he can hear us, right, Carly? Is what you're saying. So
yeah.
All right, here we go. Opening paragraph here from Paul Brittle says training camp practices are now over, and the Packers preseason will conclude on Saturday afternoon following the finale at Lambeau Field. The evaluation process against the Baltimore Ravens. For Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur, the evaluation process is nearing an end, and decisions will have to be made with initial 53-man rosters needing to be set by 3 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, August the 27th. So let's just jump into his 15 things. Sean Clifford and Michael Pratt. This has been kind of the big camp battle. Let's say Jordan does go out there and play a series, right? Let's make sure we get an even amount of snaps for Sean Clifford and Michael Pratt. We've kind of talked about this earlier in the week. I'll start with you, Carly. Do you have a preference of these two quarterbacks being your backup? Which one you would prefer, whether it's Sean Clifford or Michael Pratt?
They both have such different upsides. You had said one time during a show that, Sean Clifford is a better backup because of the role that they have in getting the QB ready for the game. But part of me is wondering, can they just hire somebody else to do that and not have it be a roster spot? I don't know.
I understand what you're saying. It does kind of make sense, right? Just have an extra body in there to do that. But really what it means to me, that doesn't come into play for who makes the roster. Like if Pratt's not going to get cut not going to get signed off the practice squad, him being on the practice squad means he's still that backup player. He's still on the sideline during games. He's still in the meeting rooms, so he can still kind of be that guy. At this point, it's all about protecting which player you want to make sure nobody signs. I just don't think anyone would sign Sean Clifford. That's just me. Michael Pratt, I think there's a slightly larger chance that he would get signed. But Jacob, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we mentioned it earlier this week that Michael Pratt at one point was seen as a second-round pick, a possible first-round pick. The only reason that he fell so far into that seventh round is because 5-6 quarterbacks were picked before he, got his shot. So at that point, there's not going to be more than, a handful of teams that are really looking to waste a draft pick on a quarterback. I also agree that I think we could probably sneak Clifford into the practice squad if we absolutely had to. And like Carly mentioned, there is a little bit of a different skill set. I think that Clifford is more of like that kind of gunslinger type person. I think Pratt may be more of a well-rounded, almost a sneaky athlete, more intriguing arm angles that he can make, throws on the run, that sort of stuff. I feel like his athleticism is a bit underrated as well. If I had to pick one of the two before this game, before I see what happens in this game, I'd probably lean 60-40 Pratt, but this game could definitely sway me depending on how they perform. And it'd be a tough choice, to be honest. I right now, I would have to definitely wait until the end of this game before, if I had to keep two quarterbacks, obviously I'm keeping Love, and then that other one would just be a toss-up as to how they play in this game.
Yeah, and there's some kind of rule change. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, one thing I remember from when we were looking and doing those mock drafts before the actual draft is when we were looking at Pratt, I just remember, like, as compared to all the other QBs, had fairly small hands, and that does worry me if he has to come in for games, especially up in Lambeau and with the weather and stuff. Like, could that be an issue? We saw that with Brock Purdy, that kind of made an issue for him in the rain and all that stuff. So that was just something else I take into account. But I agree with you, Jacob. I think Pratt overall has the bigger upside as far as you want a backup that can play, that's not going to lose you games. Doesn't have to win you games, but you definitely don't want him to lose you games.
Do you by chance remember what his hand size was? Because that is a big deal. I've seen, like, I think anything over 7 or 8 inches is considered. I think 8 inch. I don't remember what there was like
9, like 9 or 9.5. I think.
Okay, yeah, because I can't remember depending on what your size is, but I know that makes a difference because they're just the certain way that certain quarterbacks grip the ball. I always thought that was super interesting. I remember watching some sort of breakdown where it showed like how Troy Aikman versus Brett Favre. One of them never used the laces, which was interesting. I can't remember who that was, but one of them didn't even use the laces. They threw with the naked side of the ball. And I just wonder, like, I know for a fact I've heard coaches talk about how hand size can just make a difference. I know for a fact because I can throw, remember those little Nerf balls that had the tail that whistle when you throw them?
Yes.
Boy, I could throw that sucker over a freaking mountain. But if you give me a full-size ball, I'm throwing my shoulder out.
We've got the percentile here. Michael Pratt's hands are 9 1/4. All right. And that's in the 25 percentile. So not very high. The thing he did well, he had a 36-inch vertical jump at 92%. He had wingspan of 77 inches, which is 69% percentile. And broad jump was 114, if I'm looking at that correctly, 67% percentile. So, yeah, hand size, he's definitely toward the bottom. Now, when it came to Jordan Love, I think Jordan Love might have the largest hands in the entire league. He has larger hands than both Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. I think Aaron had bigger hands than Brett, and now Jordan has bigger hands than Aaron. So it's a huge thing, man, being able to throw the football in weather. And like you said, Carly, when it gets cold at Lambeau, being able to grip the football. And as soon as we talk hand size, I knew there'd be some giggling from Jacob looking at the chat. That's why I refused to look over there. Emmanuel Wilson. How do we feel about Emmanuel Wilson? Obviously, it's looking like there's a significant chance that A.J. Dillon and Marshawn Lloyd might start the season on IR. It kind of feels like we're trending in that direction. If that's the case, Emmanuel Wilson's making the active roster. There's no doubt about it.
I have to agree with that. I mean, I hope that he makes this roster no matter what. I know that I might be in the group of guys that maybe don't think this way, but if I had my druthers, if I had my choice, I'd go Josh Jacobs is 1 and Emmanuel Wilson's 2, A.J. Dillon 3, and that's if Marshawn Lloyd's not healthy. If he's healthy, then I like Lloyd at 3. I've seen what I've seen from A.J. Dillon, and I don't need to see no mo's.
Yeah. Bill Huber tweeted out, always something to work on, including how to field a kickoff that might go out of bounds. So just showing a little clip here, the guys working on some of the fundamentals. Carly, how you feel about the running back position? Emmanuel Wilson, if only one of those two guys in A.J. Dillon or Marshawn Lloyd starts the season on IR, Emmanuel Wilson probably making the roster, right?
I hope he does. I feel like with Josh Jacobs' injury history and A.J. Dillon, like I feel like we need more depth at that because I don't think we can count on those guys to play a full season. So I think it would be smarter to put one of those guys on IR and let them heal up and play Wilson. And he's shown, I think he just needs more reps. And I'm excited about his development. I liked what we saw last year, even though he didn't get a ton. And I would like to see him develop.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's roll on through the Paul Brettel article here real quick. See what he talks about.
Real quick, Omar is saying that Bill Huber just said, based on warm-ups, I don't think the number one O-line is going to play, which means the number one offense isn't going to play. The number one line is watching behind Telfort, Newman, Monk, Smith, and Glover.
All right, so please don't.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel about this, guys. That's how I feel.
please don't put Jordan Love out there is all I got to say.
Yeah.
For God's sake. Now, if the starting O-line isn't playing, Jordan is not playing. There's no doubt about that. So that might have answered our question. Appreciate it. Who was it that said that, Jacob?
I think that was Omer.
Omer, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Next in the 15 things to watch, Grant DuBose and Malik Heath. Man, Grant DuBose had a rough game last week, had 2 drops. He only 2 targets. He dropped both passes, and they weren't like horrible passes either. He just dropped them. Malik Heath, of course, Grant DuBose outperformed him the week before. Then we get back into practice. Grant DuBose kind of shined again this week, it sounds like. So going to be interesting to see these two play here. If they both get an even amount of snaps, and let's say it's 20-plus snaps, this might decide which receiver they deem more valuable, Grant DuBose or Malik Heath. But how do you two feel about that little battle there? Obviously, they're not even mentioning Bo Melton here. It kind of feels like he is definitely one notch ahead of Grant DuBose and Malik Heath. I would agree with that. I think Bo showed enough last year that he is a little bit better than Grant DuBose and Malik Heath. But what do you think about these two?
I don't know, man. I still think Bo Melton's in the mix here. I just haven't seen a lot from him the last few games. It's been kind of shocking, but it is weird because do you think there's any chance that we saw just a flash in the pan type stuff from either one of these receivers, meaning like they showed a little bit last year and maybe we were a little bit biased as we saw them have like one of their best games kind of situation? I don't know, dude. Have you seen Brock Purdy in the preseason? Guy's looking like booty cheeks. He's throwing picks to like second and third stringers kind of thing. So I'm just wondering if that's the same kind of situation where we're a little bit biased because we saw these guys just for whatever reason have a really good series, a great couple games, whatever the case is. I personally I just love Malik Heath. I don't know why. I just have an affinity towards him. Watching the way that he blocked and watching how when he got the opportunities, I feel like last year, I'll never forget that one play where he juked that guy out of his pants, did a stop, a little stop juke, and then ran around for the touchdown. And I love the way that when I watched him go against Jair in that other preseason, or I believe it was family night, getting right up in Jair's face, not taking any heat. Like I love his attitude. I think he's a really good special teamer. Right now, I think it's Grant DuBose that has to show a little bit extra to make it over Bo Melton and Malik Heath, in my opinion.
Got it. What about you, Carla?
The drops worry me for Grant DuBose, but then I remember, Christian Watson had some huge drops too, and I'm wondering if he just had too many things on his mind, like thinking about catching the ball and everything that you have to do after it to secure it and turn and go and watching. And I hope to see him play and to see him show better now that he can just focus on first getting the ball in his hand and securing it before anything else. And but I really don't know who. I want them all to make the team, you guys. I want them all to be there.
No, I agree. It's tough, man. It is. Omer in the chat said, Paul Brettle on Twitter said, Jordan Morgan is going through warm-ups with the rest of the O-line. We will see if he's able to play. He's been sidelined the first 2 preseason games with a shoulder injury. So that's going to be interesting to see if Jordan Morgan plays. If there's any pain whatsoever, sit him out. I would rather him fall a little bit behind than to tweak something and us have to start the season with him on IR, kind of play it safe and then let him cut his teeth in the regular season. He just seems like he's going to be that level, that caliber of a guard, seeing that he played left tackle is pretty much his whole career. I think he'll be just fine. Coach Lynn in the chat said Dylan can't play H-back. He needs to concentrate on being a running back. Could not agree more, Coach. Could not agree more. I just don't see him as that true H. And then Omer says Tom Silverstein, right? Most of the starters are dressed and take part in warm-ups for the Packers as they prepare to take on the Ravens. So once again, most of the starters are dressed and taking part in warm-ups for the Packers as they prepare to take on the Ravens. So yeah, and I'll tell you this, when Tom Silverstein, however you say it, I can never remember. When he speaks, don't let him fool you. He's got inside info to the front office. I'm just telling you right now. When he tweets, I try to treat it like Goody probably wants that out there. That's just me personally. I could be wrong. I could read too much into it, but that's the way I see it. So might see the starters. I hope we do. At least get them out there a little bit, get them some reps. So next on this list, Andre Dillard, Kadeem Telford, and Travis Glover. As far as that goes right now, I kind of feel like Andre Dillard is your backup left tackle. Now it comes down to who do you feel more comfortable at backup right tackle, Kadeem Telford or Travis Glover? How do you guys feel about that? Carly, I'll start with you this time. Do you have a preference of these three linemen? And again, my opinion is pretty straightforward. Andre Dillard, he should be your backup left tackle. He's comfortable there. He cannot make that transition to right tackle, at least based off what we've seen in camp. But how do you feel about Telford, Glover, and Dillard?
I remember listening to another podcast, and I think you've referenced it too, Clayton, that it's easier to go from like left tackle to left guard than it is to switch sides. Like there's so much that depends on that. So if that's where Andre Dillard is comfortable, then I think for sure that's where he needs to be. The other two, I honestly don't know enough about him to really have an opinion.
We got breaking news here. 97.3 the game. Packers head coach Matt LaFleur tells Wayne Larrivee the Green Bay Packers starters will not play today against the Ravens. So the starters are not playing. After we have now seen a comment that said they're not playing, they are playing, they're not playing. So seeing that came from coach and Wayne Larrivee is not going to put his neck out there and it not be true. So obviously no starters today is what it sounds like. Jacob, how you feel about these offensive linemen, these three right here, Andre Dillard, Kadeem Telford, Travis Glover?
Yeah, I want to see what Dillard can do at that left tackle. I want him to start today. I want to see if he can handle – I don't know what's going to go on, whether or not the Baltimore is going to play their ones or at least their strong twos, or whatever the case is. I want to see him hold up. After that, I definitely want to see Kadeem Telford. I think that he's the best other option. Maybe Luke Tenuta as well. And then Travis Glover is one that I haven't had a lot of – I don't know what the word is. It's not that I have any hate on him or anything like that, but it's just I don't expect much from him. I think that he's one of those guys. I know Emilio loves him, so it'd be cool if he could actually come out and perform and have a good game. I'm more excited to watch Jacob Monk, to be honest. I'd like to see how he progresses, but definitely going to have my eye on basically all the backups, especially now that we know that the Stadas ain't going to play. So.
All right. Andy Herman tweeted out 13 minutes ago, same for Edgerrin Cooper and Carrington Valentine, both going through warm-ups, but we'll see if they actually play. Man, I hope we see some Edgerrin Cooper today, man. I really do.
Me too.
Cornerback in this article, Corey Ballantyne, Robert Rochelle, and Kalen King, three more players to kind of watch for here. You guys know how I feel about Corey Ballantyne. I think Kalen King is he's got the tools to be a great player in due time. Robert Rochelle made a case for it too, though. Jacob, we'll start with you this time, man. What do you think about these corners here? Who are you most excited about those three right there?
Yeah, man, most excited is a hard topic because I would say I'm most excited for Kalen King's upside. I'm most excited that Robert Rochelle is just playing beyond where he should be at this point of where he is in the career on the depth chart. And I'm just think that Corey Ballantyne is too good to snub on this roster. So it's one of those things where, unfortunately, I think the injuries will dictate who makes the roster, especially in the D-back room. So that being said, if I had to choose right now, I'd go probably Ballantyne, King, and then Rochelle. Only with the reasoning is that I think we could sneak Rochelle to the practice squad. I would definitely think that Kalen King would be a risk there because, again, that's another guy that was at one point a freaking first-round prospect. He was the best cornerback prospect at one point, and he fell to the 7th, 6th round, whenever we got him in. Ballantyne is an older gentleman, so I don't know if teams would have that much of a scope on him, but with Robert Rochelle, again, I love his upside. I think he's completely maybe been one of the most improved players from camp last year, which I don't think is an exaggeration to say that. He's been very, very good. If he does make this team, I would guess that it's going to be because of his special teams presence.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think, Carla?
I really like Kalen King, and I like what he has to offer in the slot because I'm kind of skeptical about how Nixon's going to go. And King is so physical in how he plays. I like that style, and I think it can be refined. So that would be my my 2 cents, but would love it if Rashad could be on the practice squad. But Jacob said it a whole lot better than I can, but I'm pretty much in step with him.
Got it. All right. If you guys would hit that like button for us, we got a bunch of people. We just cracked 400 live viewers. Hit like, hit share, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. We appreciate y'all making us a part of your pregame festivities here as we're closing in on kickoff. We're roughly 15 minutes away, something like that. So getting close here. All right, next in the article, Christian Welch and Zane Anderson. Man, I think it was Wildy and Tausch I heard talking about this a little earlier in the week. Rich Bisaccia loves both of those guys on special teams. Christian Welch he's a man after my damn heart. I'm just telling you right now, man. The way he plays, I think if I had to choose between Christian Welch and Zane Anderson as far as like this special teams type player, I'm going Christian Welch. How do you feel about that, Jacob? Would you take Welch over Anderson?
Yeah, I love Christian Welch. He might be my sleeper pick to make this team. If anything happens to any one of our linebackers, again, God forbid, don't want that to happen. He just seems I know that he's a favorite of Tim's as well. Me and Tim just are on two birds of a feather here because every time I see him play, I'm like, dang, like how is he not on a different team or starting something? I mean, he just looks like the game is not fast for him at all. He looks very, again, physically imposing. He just reminds me of the old school thumping type linebacker. I love his game. I would like to see him hopefully play a little bit more today, and we can actually get a bigger sample size to see if it's just, again, if he is that good or if it's a flash in the pan. But I'm excited to watch him. I will say though, Zane Anderson has been sneakily, he's an ankle biter, man. You can't get rid of him. Every time I see it, like it feels like for the last 2 years, I'm like, Zane Anderson's still around?
Right.
Why?
What's won't go away. All right, Carly, this is what you signed in for today, and you have the floor to close this thing out. Anders Carlson, Greg Joseph. Where you at, Carly?
Hang on just a second. I want to go back to Zane Anderson because I really like what Too Old for This said. He said, are we really going to give a roster spot to someone who isn't real? Anderson is like leaving a spot for Jesus at the dinner table.
Jesus is the 12th man, right? In my life, anyway. Yes. I don't know about you guys. Jesus is the 12th man. So let's leave it at that. Look, here we go. Finally, kicker. Everybody in the chat is saying it. Finally, kicker talk. All right, Carly, who you taking? Anders Carlson or Greg Joseph?
Oh my goodness. What's the cost between the two?
Nothing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much negligible. Pretty much a push, yeah.
Negligible. Oh, man, I got to look back at history. Like, I don't know what it is that they see in Carlson, or like, I don't know what it is they're really looking at, but you go back in history and think about, Mason Crosby, and how he wasn't all that great the first year, and then he really picked it up and was really solid for the Packers. But also, I don't know. I really don't know.
Jacob's laughing at this comment. 2-0 for this says, to be clear, I'm not calling Jesus not real, just saying Anderson. Right.
I love that clarification so much. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that he did that.
Yes,
that's great. But yeah, I think Carlson has the most upside and the most potential to just be there for us long term. So I say keep developing him. But if we really have this Super Bowl window, I want him to get better faster.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head, Carly. Like, Carlson definitely has more upside. There's no doubt about it. We know what Greg Joseph is. If we cut Carlson and he ends up somewhere else and he turns into his brother Daniel Carlson, I am going to be one angry child over here. Okay, it's going to suck. So now I don't think anybody would pick him up. I really don't. I think he would clear waivers and make it to the practice squad. So really the question, Jacob, is who are you trusting more kicking field goals this season, Anders Carlson or Greg Joseph? I got to go off the percentages, man. Anders Carlson's career regular season kick percentage is higher than Greg Joseph's. The only thing Greg Joseph has on him is he has more game winners, albeit Anders Carlson's only played one season. If you had to choose between these two, and I know your opinion is bring in a better kicker when cuts happen, I can't disagree with that. But of these two, who are you taking, man?
Yeah, it's Anders all day. There was a little bit of a discussion to be had once they were kind of neck and neck. But the draft capital that we spent on him, Max, with the point that, like you said, he comes from a family that's obviously went through it. He has ties to Rich Bisaccia. I think, too, one of the things we have to remember is last year, and Clayton made this made me think about this. I think he mentioned it in passing a few episodes ago that he was real bad in camp last year. He was hitting like 60% of balls last year. So this year in camp, he's hitting right around 81, 82, whatever the case is. I'm okay with that because I feel like if he was able to make such a jump from preseason into regular season last year as a rookie with no camp pressure, nothing like that, I feel like this year, having a year underneath his belt, having the camp pressure of going against now 4 different kickers, having to win an actual battle, I feel like, and whatever he did in the offseason with trying to overcorrect what he was doing with the left hash or the right hash, I can't remember what it was.
I think it was left, I believe.
Left. And so he figured out a certain way to, compensate for whatever he was doing. I think if we're looking at the progression of how it works, we have to let him at least try this season and see what happens. I would imagine if he strolls into the season, he's kicking 85 to 90%. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I think the biggest thing that leaves the biggest bad taste in people's mouths were the missed extra points. I think that's what made people absolutely write him off like he was a 3-day-old tuna sandwich. You know what I mean? Like it was nobody wanted.
Breaking news here, Mike Spofford. They just tweeted this out. An article. It says 38 players will not play versus. I thought for sure we needed the beep button just now, Jacob. You took that second part of that word to the maximum level without saying the wordy dirt. So here are the 38 players who will not play. Quay Walker.
Not even Dillard's playing.
Quay Walker. He's got a shoulder, though. He does. Quay Walker, Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, Jaden Reed, Dontavion Wicks, Javon Bullard. There is your starting safety. No two ways about it. Cornerback, Eric Stokes, Robert Rochelle, Jair Alexander,
Evan Williams.
Keyshawn Nixon, A.J. Dillon, Xavier McKinney, Marshawn Lloyd, Evan Williams, Carrington Valentine, Eric Wilson, Zach Tom, Rashawn Gary, Kingsley Enagbare, Edgerrin Cooper, crack, Isaiah McDuffie, Rasheed Walker, Spencer Wagy, I think is how you say it. Josh Myers. Why do they get him listed center guard? That's kind of odd. You see that? Mm-hmm. Andre Dillard, Elton Jenkins, Sean Ryan, Jordan Morgan, Tyler Davis, Tucker Kraft, Romeo Dobbs, Luke Musgrave, LVN, Preston Smith, TJ Slayton, Devontae White, and Kenny Clark. Can you think of a player that's not on this list to go, oh, good, they're playing? I can't think of one.
How do they have enough people to put anyone on the team, actually? Or anyone on the field? Anyone on the field? Tim's going to be out there playing. Tim's going to be out there kicking for him.
Yeah, there you go. Kick the bloody piss out.
I don't know what I feel. I don't know. Is Emmanuel Wilson on this list?
Oh, that's a great question. Let's look.
I don't think he is.
I don't think so.
Emmanuel Wilson about to get that workload, ain't he?
Yeah.
Bro. Yeah.
And Travolta says this is basically our injury report from last year.
From the last decade, it feels. My God.
I think we'll see a lot of all the Home Depot today, like Bates says.
Yeah,
right.
I think you're right. Yep.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. Hopper's playing as well, like IROC's saying.
Christian Welch will be playing. That'd be fun to watch.
Yep.
Defensive line wise, Carl
Brandon
Brooks,
Cox, baby.
That's right. Hey, bro, if he finishes 20% success rate again, we might have a. I didn't see Kingsley Enagbare here. No, there he is. Okay, so
Dang it.
think of,
hey guys, I gotta go. But thanks for a great show.
Get out of here.
Bye.
So, Carl Brooks going to be on your interior. Devontae White, is he on this list?
Yes,
he's not, is he?
Yeah,
all right, Devontae. Oh, there he is. Dang, who the hell's playing today? What are we going to do?
I'm telling you,
we got enough players to field here.
Like legit, man. We're going to see a lot of. Most surprising for me is got to be Robert Rochelle, right?
Yeah, that it kind of feels like, did he make the roster?
Like, right? And how? Who? Why? Who? What?
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like he may have, and that's the first
crazy
thing that really popped. Think of bubble guys, and then we'll get off here so everybody can go watch the game. Robert Rochelle's one that's kind of a surprise, right? To not play.
Not playing Wilson kind of surprised me too, Eric.
Edgerrin Cooper, that must be precautionary with the hip, obviously.
Spencer Waggy, though.
Yeah, what's up with that?
What's going on with that?
And
Dillard surprises me.
there might be an injury there we don't know about. Yeah, Dillard, the shoulder, that makes sense to me.
That's
because
true.
they were talking about it wouldn't keep him off the 53 either. Like he would be ready week 1. They might be playing that safe.
I don't want to tweak it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, even LVN kind of surprises me, to be honest. We got no ones, no two edges on this team.
No, yeah, that surprise. I'm trying to look at it like who sticks out as did they make the roster? Robert Rochelle is the only one I could think of.
All right, here. This helps a lot. Fred McFarley says Wagee is hurt. He's got a concussion. Now that makes a little more sense here.
Yeah, thank you, Fred. That makes sense. Yeah. And again, these are not healthy scratches. These are just all the scratches, right? So.
Right.
All right. Let's go for this heavy dose of Henry Pearson.
Yeah.
Give him that A gap there. If you need 2 yards, he'll get you 2 yards.
Dave C says Tyron Hopper, Christian Welch, and Zane Ander versus the entire Ravens. That's all we got, bro.
Exactly right. All right. We're out of here, guys. We're just a few minutes away from kickoff. Again, I'm going to create the post-game show link so you guys can chat in there, but I highly, highly, highly recommend go over to Packernet YouTube channel and hang out with Ryan Schlip, the founder of Packernet Podcast, where you can find this show that we do daily in podcast form. You can just scan the QR code right there, and that'll send you to multiple platforms where you can subscribe to the Packernet Podcast, where you can find this show and the Packernet Podcast and the It's Always Draft Season Podcast with Jake Shavink. So make sure you check that out. And also, we went ahead and closed the giveaway. Those who already joined the Patreon group, we'll make sure that you're on the wheel this afternoon for the post-game show. And we're going to be giving away a copy of Take Your Eye Off the Ball 2.0. So appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We will be back for the post-game show. Everybody go over to Packernet Podcast YouTube channel and hang out with Ryan Schlip. Tell him that the dumb redneck and the beautiful beard sent you. All right. So we will see you guys during the post-game show. Everybody drink responsibly, please. Okay. And it is a preseason game. None of us overreact. I will be in the pool, smacking the water like a child over everything negative that happens, overreacting. But you guys shouldn't do that. Okay.
No.
So we'll see you shortly. Everybody have a great game.